And welcome back to another edition of the War Eagle Production Spotlight. I'm Jake Mays, producer live operations. I'm joined by Daniel DePoe, our assistant broadcast engineer, as well as director of our broadcast video board shows. And today we have the privilege of being joined by Mr. Corey Alberty. Corey, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we can't really talk about how you got into TV with giving a little backstory of what you did before TV. So for those that don't know, Corey played arena football. And so kind of talk about how you got into arena football.
I'll make a long story very short. So I played at Georgia State, which is, wasn't a Power 5 school. Actually, it was a club football team at the time. And so when I came out of college, I knew I still wanted to play ball. Ball was life for me at the time. And so my agent was like, hey, look, man, your NFL chances, that's not going to happen. So you can either go play in Canada or go play in arena. And I went to a couple of CFL workouts. It didn't pan out. So I got picked up by arena, man. I played 10 years, man. I played everywhere from Green Bay to Washington, D.C. to Jacksonville to New Orleans. I've been all over the place. So it was a fun ride. That's making a very long story short, but it was a fun ride.
Okay, so then you said 10 years. So kind of when did you – well, first, how did you hear about getting into TV and what kind of drew you into one or, made you want to get into TV?
Ooh. Now that's a good question. So I came home one off season and we're going to have an honest moment here. So I came home one off season. I looked at my bank account and said, hold on, this ain't good. So I reached back out to Georgia State, which is the school I graduated from. So I reached back out to Georgia State and I was like, hey, can I come and intern, help chop up football film or whatever the case may be. So they brought me in to intern. And what I was doing was just help recording the football practices, for the Georgia State football team. And the same guy that did the football practices was friends with the guy that was over all the ESPN 3 stuff. So he was like, hey, look, we got a camera dude that's sick. Do you mind going over to the basketball arena and doing a basketball game? The camera under the basket, which, at that time is handheld. And I was like, I said, bro, I never shot basketball before. He said, just a one-time thing. You'll make a quick $100. I was like, well, I got more time than I got money. I was like, all right, cool. So I went over there, I did the game. And then the lady that was in charge, she was like, hey, you want to come back and do a few more? I was like, yeah. Because at that time, like I said, my bank account wasn't looking too good. I said, yeah, sign me up. And I did 6 games that season. Now I left to go play football again. And I came back and I looked at my bank account again. And I said, well, so I reached back out to her. I was like, hey, can I come back and do some more games? And she was like, she gave me the whole season. And so the director at the time is this guy named Patrick. He was like, yo, I think you got a niche at this. I think you might want to try to pursue this. And I was like, all right. And then from there, my next step was going to Auburn. I sent out a bunch of emails, and Auburn was probably the only person that responded. And they brought me in for an interview. And I sent Auburn my reel. And he brought me in for an interview, and I thought my reel was nice. I thought it had a nice reel. And at the time, Michael Sullivan, he was like, he brought me in and said, yeah, you're kind of green. I mean, matter of fact, you're very green. I said, are we looking at the same reel? He was like, you're very green. And then as I started working at Auburn, I realized, yeah, he's right. Because I learned so much about perspective and keeping the feet in the frame, all kind of other things. I didn't realize how behind the 8 ball I really was until I started working there. So coming to Auburn was I guess, equivalent to going to the Patriots, how they say the Patriot way. So that's why I tell people, you work at Auburn, you better know you're going to the Patriot way. It's a standard you gotta uphold. And that's how I got into it, man. And then from there, the sky was kind of the limit.
I think just a quick story for me. I came to Auburn and I wanted to go into just radio. I had no idea that TV existed. So when you can say that there's different paths to get to TV, I mean, arena football, radio is an easier one, but I think that's so crazy. So yeah. I think you started here in 2017. Kind of your first year here. Kind of what were some of the you mentioned perspective, some of that, but and a little what were some of the other things you learned in just your first season, not just here but at other places?
Oh, my first season at Auburn was amazing. I'm never forget my first game was a women's soccer game, and I did a bunch of like SEC Network Plus games, a bunch of them before he even put me on a linear shift because I had to learn. But the thing I learned the most when I was there was just after every show, even if you thought you shot the best show, you didn't. Because he's gonna say, "Hey, look, you remember in the second quarter when you could have showed me the face of the guy coming to the bench, but instead you gave me the back of the head that does nothing for me." And it was some days you'll go home, you be like, "Yo, like, am I cut out for this?" But I didn't know what he was actually doing at the time, the way he was coaching us, and the way And Daniel was there. Matter of fact, Daniel was there. Had a shift one game. Never forget it. Daniel was there. It was a basketball game. I think Daniel was the other handheld guy. And my horizon kept kind of going downhill. And he rolled me the whole game. And I'm like, it can't be that bad. But I promise you going forward, I'll always check my crosshairs. I always have my my safety box. I make sure I'm good. But I learned so much my first year at Auburn. Like I did maybe 15 plus shows I even got on the linear shift, because he wanted to make sure I was ready. They wanted to make sure I was ready. So
for sure. Yeah. Man, the first thing I noticed when you came here was your effort was always to the max. I mean, no matter what show you were on or what camera you were on, you was trying to kill it. What kind of gave you that mentality, or what makes you view it like that?
Football. By far, it was football. By far, because when you playing ball, you got an opponent, and next week you got another game. So if you catch an L, or even if you win, you got to go and watch film. You got to study, and then definitely playing arena football. We wasn't making much. They're bringing guys in every single Monday to take your job. So it's like, all right, like, all right, you're gonna bring this new guy in every Monday. I got to make it hard for this new guy. So I always want to compete. Even so when I'm on camera, even now when I'm on camera, when I'm doing TNT and all this stuff, I tell the other handheld dude, and I be jokingly, but I be serious. Hey, boy, don't let me outshoot you. But I say it in a jokingly manner. I don't want to offend nobody, but I'm dead serious. Like, if we gonna be down here, we gonna compete. And matter of fact, you can ask Aaron. Aaron works there. Me and Aaron always talk trash.
I was about to bring him up. Yeah,
me and Aaron always talk trash. And Aaron, I had his games where he have outdone me. Don't get me wrong. I tip my hat off to Aaron. He has had his shows, but I tell Aaron every game, hey, and even Tori, me and Tori on the same show, and we're very competitive. Even though we joking, before every football game, we're both on handheld. Hey man, don't let me outshoot you.
For sure.
So it's I would say my football background brings out that competitive nature.
It's fun seeing. Go ahead.
I said, just win, lose, or draw, man. We just got to compete at all costs. That's the mindset I be trying to have.
I was about to say, too, it's fun seeing you and some other people like that here at Auburn that are just always trying to compete. And to be honest, I think it's usually the better operators I see are the ones competing during shows. Are you seeing the same thing on the road, or is it usually some of the guys that are like the most laid back are still the ones killing it?
I seen both. Like, matter of fact, like this season with TNT, we got a guy from New York named Tad, and he's all New York, and he's very competitive. But then you'll go work with a guy like Renee out of New Orleans that's very quiet. He does midcourt and will have some of the best shots you ever see. So, different folks, different strokes. It just depends. But I know at Auburn, come on, dude. And Daniel, when you're on a show and you look to your left, you got Gage, and then you got Joe, and then you got Aaron, Will, and dude, you can name them for days. You got Tori and that make guest appearances. I can go on and on. It's like, dude, all those guys are 5-star guys when they come to being on camera. All those guys can be on any TNT, any ESPN, any Fox, any CBS show, any day of the week. That's the type of talent Auburn picks, and that's the type of talent they have. So you knew if you was on the show with them, like, man, you don't want to be the weakest link. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be like the weakest link.
For sure. That's what pushed me.
Especially like, remember back in the day when Doug was there, Doug would chime in every now and then if you messing up. Oh, I saw that shot, man. Wasn't that? And he'll say it so slick. He'll chime in my headset. watch that rising cord. And then he'll chime off real quick.
Yeah.
But like when you got those guys on the show, you got to compete because all those guys are great shooters.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And they're keeping you honest too. They're making sure
they will keep you honest, and that's why I love working there. They will keep. We all brothers. We all kind of keep each other honest. And yeah, they will definitely keep you honest, and they won't sugarcoat it because we all know it. Like, I mean, I've been on your shows lately, and I know how you start your meetings off. Like, yo, like let's get better. If you're not here to get better, like, why are you even here?
Mm-hmm.
And then like for instance, when we get done with the show, you push us off. But then I love how you'll turn the mirror back on yourself. Like, hey, okay, how can I get better as well as a director? And
sure.
and that's. You can't beat that when a director asks the camera guys like, yo, how can I get better? I'm telling you guys how to get better, but what can I do to get better? So that means we all hold each other accountable.
Exactly.
So again, we talked about you started just 2017 here. Granted, you did a few things before that, but like now you're doing NBA playoffs. You're on a college football package. Like you've worked your way up. So like if someone's watching this or and wanting to get to where you are, what's the biggest thing you would say, hey, you have got to do this or you've got to make sure you get better at this?
I would tell people every show, man, come in. I don't care if it's a SEC Network Plus show or a linear show, man. You come in there and you try to shoot that thing like it's a Super Bowl. You try to treat every game like you're finna go shoot the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals. And people ask me that question too. Like I tell people, another thing is, it's not just how great of a shooter you are, and like Daniel said, how good is your work ethic? Because trust me, this broadcast community is very small and they all know each other. So people ask about each other, and then also, can you work well with others? Because you'll get on a crew, and 75% of it is just shooting the game and setting up the cameras. But the other 25%, do people even like to be around you? Can you get along with people? I would tell people, work on your craft. Like I don't watch football games and basketball games and soccer games the same. I look at those guys and I study it. I'll rewind. Hey man, I like that shot. If I'm DVR, I like that shot. I'll rewind it. I'll study it. And I'll try to always put it in my, I'll start putting it in my playbooks where I can use it in the future. So that's my word of advice, man. Treat every game like it's a Super Bowl, no matter how big or how small the broadcast is. Come in there with just the mindset like, yo, and we're going to work today. Let's try to make this the best show possible. And not just you. Remember, it takes all you guys to make the best show possible. So if you see one of your other camera guys struggling or utility struggling, help them out. Because, the show, it takes all of us to make the show look good. So, yeah, that's what I would tell anybody.
For sure, man. I love how you view as a team aspect. I mean, it really is like we're playing a team game. Almost like any show, no matter what you're doing, right? Every position is so important.
Yeah.
Man, you brought it up, kind of just talked about watching games. I want to be honest with me here. How hard is it for your friends to watch games with you now? Because I know my friends can hardly do it.
It's tough. It's tough, man. Like last night, I'm watching the finals, and I'm like, shot was a little bit out of focus. You just can't watch like, oh, why he didn't push to the hero? Why he didn't crash it? That would have been a good time to crash to the hero on that made bucket on the backside. Or that backside shot. That backside clock is kind of getting down, and you'll look at the replay, and he follows the ball in. And it's like, yo, dude, it's down to 5. It's under 5 on the backside. Like you need to be wide to see that shot clock. You do not watch it the same. You
For
don't
sure.
watch, like, hey man, he could have attacked the bench more during the timeout. Or he could have. No, you don't. Oh man, it's a good time to get a crowd shot, and he's over here shooting. Tell the story, especially when they're telling the story and you hear the announcers and they just shooting something complete. He's like, dude, tell the story. The announcers tell you where to go. I mean, the other half, we kind of tell them where to go too. Don't get it wrong, but majority of the time they'll tell you where to go. So so I'm just like you. It's hard for me to watch sports because I watch it from a camera guy now.
All right, so you, like we said, you've been a lot of different places. So when we talk about atmosphere, and you kind of have to take out the last year because a lot of places didn't have fans, whatever. But if you're talking just atmosphere, what's one college football stadium you would like? I've got to do another game there, or another college basketball stadium, or NFL.
Honestly, Auburn basketball, men's basketball, by far.
Wow.
By far, Auburn's men's basketball. By far. And I tell and I love UGA, and I tell anybody there that by far Auburn's men's basketball. I never done an Auburn football game. I've done an Auburn spring game. Never done an Auburn football game. So, and I keep hearing this crazy, but dude, like, I want to say it was 2017, 2018. I did, was it Auburn, Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. And that's the year Auburn went to the Final Four?
That was nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, and I tell anybody, Auburn basketball by far. Hands down. I mean, even NBA. I love NBA. I've done some great NBA places. Auburn basketball.
I mean, and I know, obviously this year was tough. From no fans.
Yeah.
You had to obviously mask up everywhere. But what from this last year could you take away and say, I learned this from from a COVID season? What's something you can apply from not just this year, but going forward?
I know. I realize I learned I can sacrifice. I mean, all the sacrifice we had to do just to do the NBA playoffs as far as testing. We got to take 6 a.m. flights, land, go straight to a testing facility, get tested, then try to figure out where your hotel is. I realized that I can do a lot of things I didn't think I could do, especially with football. Like football, we had to leave a day early, and I was on a Pac-12 crew. So I'm flying out to the West every single week, flying 5 hours just to sit in a hotel for a day because we got a quarantine, then test, and then set up, and then do a game, then fly back to Georgia just to fly 5 hours back on a Wednesday. So yeah, I realized like I would take, because it's only gonna get easier because we're starting to get we're starting to get a hand on this COVID thing, so it's only gonna get easier. So I realized, like, man, it's downhill from here because it's been tough. It's been tough, man. I mean, like, I got a game on the 17th for ESPN. Like, I as soon as I got off the phone with you guys, I got to run to FedEx and send off a COVID test. And then I got to get another COVID. I got to be at the facility at Mercedes-Benz at 5 a.m. just to get another COVID test. So now I'm waking up at 4 just to, get to that side of town on time. So it's tough, but you realize, if I can do this in these times, then once things get back to normal, it's gonna be a cakewalk. I ain't gonna say it's gonna be a cakewalk, but it's gonna be easy. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. If you had to, would you do it again? Same thing happens next year. Are you down? Okay.
In a heartbeat. I love what I do for a living. In a heartbeat. I mean, I got vaccinated because I love to do handheld. And it was like, get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. And then TNT say, hey, you want to do handheld? I said, yeah, where that Johnson & Johnson at? Throw it in there. And I was right there to see. I was right there to CVS. Right here, baby. Yeah. So,
all right. I mean, you probably just answered it. That I was going to ask you what your favorite camera to run is, but I mean, it's definitely handheld. That's all you do, right?
It's by far handheld. Even when I get emails, that's why I say, like, I got emailed to do preseason football for Panthers for CBS. I say, hey, I always say this: is the handheld position open? I would like to run that. And then, I ain't gonna put the secret out there, but a lot of guys don't like to run handheld. So it's a camera that's 9 times out of 10 is gonna be open. And I'll tell people, it's a camera 9 times out of 10 you can grow on because a lot of people just don't like to do it because it's taxing. When they get 60 and 70, I'm probably gonna be like, man, I feel it now. But I'm trying to do it while I'm still young because I don't want you to be. I don't want to be on the football package at 65. Oh man, you want to go do hand? No, I'm 65. I don't want to do handheld at 65.
For sure.
I'm gonna run high end zone up there with I'm gonna be up there with Gage. Run high easy. So, yeah.
Man, you should have saw we.
I'm just trying to do it now with my body will still let me do it.
Man. You easily one of the better ones I've seen running. That's for damn sure.
I appreciate it.
We talk about the effort, man, but seeing you sprint from sideline to sideline during a soccer game, in 2017, 2018, man. It was something we hadn't seen in a while, so it was cool to see.
Appreciate it.
Matt. So you did some dams already, but I think of competitions you've had in Auburn. I think of you and Aaron. I mean, that was a battle. Whenever y'all were on a show, it was going to be battle on headset, battle with the shots.
Yeah.
I mean, talk a little bit about that, just that rivalry, if you consider it a rivalry.
Oh, I do. And Aaron will call you the night before. He will call your phone the night before and talk trash. You know, he'll call me the night before because I got him saved to my phone as A-Rod. And he will get on headset and he will let me have it. Oh, he'll let me have it. But he'll make you compete because you'll look up and Aaron getting a huddle shot, but he's down on like one knee shooting up in the huddle. Like, oh, I can't let him outwork me like this. So now I'm trying to do the same thing or something different. Like Aaron will, and I don't know if it's just me, but I never seen him do that with anybody else. You know, I never see him, but he competes. Aaron will compete at all costs, and that's one thing you got to respect about Aaron. Like, it's definitely it's a friendly. I love that dude. It's a friendly rivalry. He know I love him. And if you ain't never been to one of his fish fries, please go.
That man can cook for sure.
What?
Ooh.
Oh man. You know, I think, and we've talked about a lot, competition. I think it just it makes your shows better, but it's going to make you better.
Yeah.
Because you just don't want to get shown up by like if you're running two handhelds, you don't want to be the weaker guy. Like you just don't. Same way with, you know, a producer. Hey, I saw this from another show. How can I take it, but, you know, tweak it or make it better? You know, it happens in every aspect. And I think not just here, but anywhere, the more you have competition, it's not going to make you any worse. Let me put it that way. And I think that's something that's one of the aspects about this that I love is just the competition and getting better every single show.
That's for dang sure.
I would tell another thing I would tell anybody that's at Auburn that's want to work in War Eagle, like once you leave there, you'll be so ready for the real life production world. It gets you. I mean, I can't even explain how ready I was. And actually, I don't want to say it's actually a little easier because but it is. You know, I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? It's actually like Auburn, working at Auburn is like, you know, okay, if I leave Auburn and I left there successful and I left there doing everything they told me to do and coaching me up to do, when you come and do a show for like Fox or, you know, Bally or TNT or wherever, it's easier. It is. And you still hear the Daniels and the Sullivans in your head. Like the other day, I was doing rugby for CBS and I had to run out there and get the man of the match. And he kept, he was walking. I just couldn't get in front of him, trying to get in front of him. And all I heard was Daniel Sullivan, the back of the head does nothing for me. So the whole time, and my poor utility, but I'm like, yo, we got to get in front of him. We got to get his face. I eventually got in front of him, walked with him for a good little while, because all I could hear, and the director took the shot from the back of the head. But I'm like, no, that does nothing for me. You know, the back of the head does nothing for me. Always want to see face. Always want to see face. And so I got around and I got the shot, but all I heard was Daniel and Michael. It does nothing for me. That shot does nothing for me.
You know, you mentioned utility, and I think a lot of people go, "Oh, I'm just a utility tonight." But for a handheld operator, that utility is pretty vital to get you to do, or like you said, if you're trying to get to the front of somebody, they're really important to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I treat all my utilities with so much respect, and because I was one that for a long time, and without them, we can't get to where we are. We can't get to a single shot, you know. And shouts out to my man Jeremiah at Auburn. I mean, he's climbing the ladder now. He's a camera guy now. But man, when he was a utility and I had him, oh man, I knew I was good. That's my guy. We got a lifelong bond. Love that dude. But yeah, man, like utilities, man, they're so important. Like they're so important. And I tell any camera guy that's watching this, treat them with respect. I mean, treat them with respect because you can't do what you do without them, and vice versa. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. We couldn't do a spotlight on former or employees here without talking to you and getting your story because
Thank you.
I mean you're doing, like you said, TNT playoffs, ESPN playoffs, college football. So we couldn't do this without talking to you. So I just thank you for joining us, man.
Hey man, I'm glad to be here, man. I'm glad you guys brought me on the show, and I appreciate it.
All right.
Man, you talked about the bond. I miss you, man. I can't wait to see you again.
I miss you, bro. I'll be back. Hey, I'll be back in the fall. Ain't nothing changed.
I know. You better
Yeah,
be.
I'll
Come
back.
on now.
Oh, and by the way, Daniel, thank you. I know I was a little irritated, but thank you for switching me up this year, throwing me on different cameras, and making me work. And I saw what you did. Appreciate you saying, look, dude, you know what? I know you're a handnail guy. We don't got handnails this season, so let's throw you around different places. Let's get you better. And I salute you for that, brother. And I appreciate it.
Oh, you no doubt, man. You know I got you. I hope I made you a little better too, man.
Yeah, man. Yo, you did. And next vacation, invite me. You know, I want to hang out. I got a little money in my pocket. I want to go somewhere. Call me.
Hey, you probably got some miles too. I need to use some of your miles to go somewhere.
Hey, look, man, your boy just hit go. I hit go when I went to Montana. I hit go. Delta sent me that big email. Welcome to go. I said, oh yeah, I'm bag your fees for me. All right, man. Love you guys, man. I appreciate it.
All right, hey,
always, man.
Corey, thanks for joining us, man.